Okie dokie. So, welcome to Just Ask. Question of the day is, why doesn't my boyfriend ever compliment me? This is a very good one, and there are a lot of reasons that could be. So, when we answer questions, we don't want to just give you one answer because we understand that in certain cases, there are a lot of variables in questions. So, here are the different variables I'm going to be covering. In these videos, I strive to be as honest as possible, no judgment to anyone, but I try to tell you things that most people will not say. So there's four main reasons, of course there's others, why your boyfriend may not compliment you. And I'm guessing when you say he doesn't compliment you, you mean like he never tells you you're pretty, he doesn't show appreciation, he doesn't tell you how grateful he is that you've done something, complimenting. Maybe, you want your looks to, be a certain way, and actually there's five. And it may hurt your feelings what one of them is, but uh, that still shouldn't be an excuse. So here's where we get into it. So the first one is, he's not as serious about you as you think. And this is a horrible one, but there have been cases, and I've been there, when people or girls or boys are in relationships and they see the relationship as one thing and the other person sees it as something completely different. So you may be all serious about this guy, but he's not serious about you. It's possible that he just sees you as a lay. He just sees you as someone to have fun with. He doesn't even really consider you guys official. Like, you may have the title that you're dating or your girlfriend and boyfriend, but he's not that serious. So he doesn't feel like he needs to do anything because, as far as he's concerned, you're just a friend with benefits. That's one. That's one variable. It could be that. If you guys have been seeing each other for a long time and you know that this is an actual relationship and you know he's shown signs of loving you, but he just never verbally says a compliment to you, then it could be number two, his personality type. There are different personality types. I mean, I follow the Myers-Briggs personality type chart, but it's not really a one size fits all. Of course, there's different categories and there's different variants inside those categories. But he may be of the judgmental, non-feeling type. There are people that are more logical than they are emotional. They're more pragmatic and they're more mathematical than they are creative and artistic. Those people don't really see the need to compliment. Everything is really done through their actions. So them saying that they love you and yada yada, they may not be privy to doing that. And the only reason they would do that is because they know it makes you feel good. But that's not really their go-to because either they weren't shown that when they were younger, that could be another thing, or they just don't see any need for it. If they show you that they love you, it should be quite obvious to you that they're doing that because they love you. If it's a matter of complimenting, like, you're beautiful, it may just be his personality type. He knows you're beautiful, but he doesn't see the need to really say that unless you come out directly and say to him, look, you never compliment me on how I look. And if he says something along the lines of, well, I mean, I thought it was pretty obvious that you're beautiful, that's why I'm with you. You can tell him, well, I like hearing that from you sometimes, and then you appeal to his nature, because no matter how pragmatic a guy is, unless he's really severely so, he's going to be competitive with other guys. So if you tell him, like, two guys, or not two guys, but even if two guys, do that to you, just say one. A guy, was talking to me today and he made me feel so good. He told me how beautiful I was. And I realized that my own boyfriend never tells that, never says that to me. I don't want to get it from a stranger, and I'm not getting it from where I really want to get it from. It means more coming from you, and it makes me feel good. And for that kind of personality, you have to be direct with them because they will be totally clueless. Now, the other thing, if it's not down to the personality type, it could be his experience. It could be that he's been hurt before. There are guys, and I've met a few of them, that give so much to girls that they lose themselves. They basically borderline worship these girls, and they do nothing but say how beautiful she is and yada yada. And I'm just like, dude, really? You're doing way too much. There you can tell your girl she's beautiful, and you basically tell each other how much you care about each other. But if you're doing all of that and the girl is mistreating you, then after a while he's going to think that he gets dumped all the time or stepped on by girls because he's always making them feel good. So maybe it's out of fear of you leaving him or disrespecting him, he doesn't compliment you. At that point, you have to ask him why he never does that. Still lead in with the first thing with a personality type issue, but ask him, and compliment him too. Are you complimenting him? If you're not complimenting him, but you're expecting him to compliment you, there's something wrong there. It has to come from both parties. Now, the first one, you can talk to him about that too. Sorry, the fourth one, he doesn't respect you. If he doesn't respect you, even if he's serious about the relationship and he wants to stay with you, he may not respect you enough to even want to do that. He may think you're only there for a specific job, and he wants to stay with you so long as you're taking care of his needs. But if he doesn't respect you, then it's about you making him feel good and less about him making you feel good, or each of you making each other feel good. At that point, you have to seriously have a sit down with yourself and with him to talk about it. And if he's a good man, he provides for you and he takes care of you and your emotional needs and all that stuff, but the only thing is that he doesn't compliment you, that's something you guys can probably work on. Okay, number 5, you're doing too much, which kind of piggybacks off of number 3, in the guy's case of him doing too much and him feeling like he doesn't want to be hurt. If you're doing too much, and you probably won't see it, but you may be chasing your guy away. And at that point, he'll stop complimenting you, if he has before, because he's finding you boring. If he's never complimented you ever, you probably didn't give him a reason to want to. There's nothing that grabs at a guy's attention more than to think he's losing yours. And if you're doing too much and he feels like he doesn't have to work to do anything to keep you, then you need to take a step back. You need to work on yourself. You need to get out there and give him less of your time, because absence makes the heart grow fonder. And if you're not around all the time and he knows you're around other people or potential other suitors, he's going to try to win you back. But if he doesn't have to fight to win you back, then complimenting you, why would he do that? You give him everything. So those are the main reasons why your boyfriend would never compliment you. Now, if he decides that he would never compliment you and this is a deal breaker for you, then you can just tell him, look, I want to be with someone who makes me feel good. The way I make them feel, I want someone to make me feel like that. This isn't going to work out. If that's really a deal breaker for you and you're a touchy-feely person and you need that, there's nothing wrong with that, but you have to let him know and give him an ultimatum and say, look, I don't blame you and I don't want to change you, but I need this in the relationship because it makes me feel like you don't love me. Now, there's a flip side, and there's other people who compliment people and they cheat on them. So you have to decipher whether or not it's worth it giving up a guy who just isn't used to complimenting you, because honestly, if he's doing everything else that a good man should do, and that's the only thing, trust me, he will go out of his way, if it's not in his nature, to do that other thing to make you feel good, even if he fights initially. If he's already doing everything else to show that he loves you, and you let him know how that makes you feel, he'll work on this too. Okay? But anyways, I hope that answered the question. If you have any other questions, just ask.